So my name's Karen Millers. I'm coming in from the glorious Gold Coast and fabulous weather here. I was lucky enough to meet Sally about 12 years ago. And Sally back then had launched a book called David's Gift about her son who, I don't like to give people labels, but he had autism and
Still
how
got it.
that affected, how that affected their life. And I just thought she was amazing. She was very articulate. She was very driven, inspiring, and she was helping other people, particularly families back then. And Sally and I have remained friends over that time. And I have watched Sally continue to evolve into the most amazing speaker trainer. And she's actually an authority in women's health. And not only is she an authority in women's health, she also is a master trainer of EFT. If anybody has ever done any tapping, Sally is an absolute master. She has a lifelong commitment to coaching and mentoring. When she actually started a fitness program for women many years ago. We won't talk about how long that was ago, but Sally can tell you a little bit more about that. But she is very, very passionate about helping people live the best lives in the skin that they're in and what they can do through her own journeys of self-discovery. But also she is, as I said, she's a master in what she does. She's devoted to helping people love the skin that they're in. So I'll hand it over to Sally. Sally's coming in from Canada. She lives in Canada now, which is really sad for me, but great for her family because her family live in Canada. And so this is when we could squeeze this into the cracks of our times to make this work. So welcome, Sally, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Karen. That's such a beautiful introduction. Thank you. Yes, we do live in Canada now. We actually live, my daughter and son-in-law to be live 5 minutes walk from here, and my the younger daughter lives 5 minutes further on from her. So we're all on a line, and we get together, which is what we want. My kids moved to Canada, 7, 9, and 10 years ago. So it's lovely that we're here. My middle daughter is getting married in September, so it's lovely to be here to be involved in all of that. Right. So yes, I have been involved in the fitness industry for over 40 years. So I've seen a lot of things come and go. And Karen will tell you, like, whenever there's a new product that comes onto the market, I'm always extremely hesitant because I've seen so much come and go in 40 years, as you can imagine. And Jade could probably attest to that. You know, when you have a child diagnosed with any special needs, you get very skeptical about things. And so, as with any of the products that, even though I love Nu Skin, any of the products that come from Pharmanex, I'm still very hesitant. I still want to try them myself. And so when Biome came along, I was a bit, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Well, I've got to say, there was an issue for me because I have a sensitivity to caffeine. So I hesitated a little bit to try it. Then I had to figure out when to take it because the caffeine did impact on me a little bit. But once I figured all that out, it's been just wonderful. Karen and I were talking yesterday, and she just made a comment about how the new Biome had affected her with some hot flushes. When she didn't take them, they came back, and when she's taken them, and they didn't. I thought, that's really interesting. It was like one of those stop moments. I thought, how does that work? So then I started to do some deep dive on them, and I'm really interested and excited to share with you what I'm going to share with you right now. So I'm going to get my screen up and share with you just how versatile this incredible product is. And I'm going to try and keep it as, unsciency as I can, because it's really important that we all understand how this works. So the gut microbiome significantly influences hormone regulation and overall endocrine health. Now, we talk about gut health now all the time. It's probably between good gut health and menopause. They're about the hottest things on the market right now. Everybody is talking about. And the more we learn about the gut microbiome, the more we're learning that's been the issue with so many of the what I call 21st century diseases that really didn't exist a century ago. Things like type 2 diabetes, things like the rise in cardiovascular health, and including what we're now talking about, how the gut microbiome actually affects hormones. So estrogen metabolism, the gut microbiome affects estrogen levels through a process called estrogen enterohepatic circulation. In other words, what that does is estrogen is produced in the ovaries, requires the liver, bile, and the gut to allow it to circulate through the body in order it to do what it needs to do. And the gut bacteria help the excess or metabolize estrogens into forms that can be reabsorbed or excreted. So besides estrogen, gut bacteria impacts testosterone and progesterone. The imbalances in gut flora can alter levels and activities of these hormones, potentially affecting reproductive health and libido. So you will have heard of a lot of people now have things like polycystic syndrome. They have issues with reproductive health. You know, I think this has been an issue that's come up that we haven't really heard about much in the past. There's a wonderful book I just do want to share with you at the moment that I'm reading called Good Energy by Dr. Kelly. And the whole book is about our metabolic health and gut health and the impact of everything we do, not only food we eat, pollution, the things we put in our body, the sprays we use in our house, stress in our body, impacts on our metabolic health. And that is the bottom line to many of these diseases that seem to be just escalating right now. And so what we've got with New Biome is something very special. So just quickly, the gut microbiome plays a crucial role in the metabolism and regulation of estrogen. Now, FOS is a prebiotic and heat-treated BPL is a postbiotic. Now, these work together to help your gut create the good flora it needs to be able to increase your immune system, to be able to metabolize food, and also to help with stress. And it has a notable impact on our hormone regulation. Now, for the purpose of the first part of this, we're going to talk about menopause, and the second part of this, we're actually going to talk about overall hormone health for all women. Now, that's what Karen and I were having this discussion yesterday, that the gut microbiome has an impact on hormone regulation and menopause system, including hot flushes. Now, we call them flashes here in North America. They're flushes, I know, in Australia. I get really confused with who I'm talking to. This is how it influences these aspects. All right. So during menopause, estrogen levels naturally decline, but the gut still plays a role in how estrogen is processed and excreted. A healthy balance of gut bacteria can help regulate estrogen levels, particularly mitigating some menopausal symptoms. But this is where what we've got is something really special. The gut microbiome influences the enterohepatic circulation. In other words, how each organ in the body uses estrogen, which impacts on overall levels in the body. Now, disruptions to this balance affect the hormone levels. This is where this is so different. I came across this study yesterday. One of the major products in New Biome is pomegranate. Pomegranate has been shown to improve hot flash severity and menopause symptoms and decrease FSH, which is the follicle stimulating hormone. It significantly improves high density lipoprotein, which is HDL, body mass index, and weight. So a lot of people are talking about, while they're on New Biome, why we do not promote this as a weight loss product, that a lot of people are feeling their weight coming a little bit more under control. This is the pomegranate. Now, the pomegranate, I don't know if you've seen how expensive pomegranates are, but you wouldn't want to be buying them every day. The fact that we have this in the New Biome is the reason why many people, many women going through menopause are feeling better on it. So what else about pomegranate? 3 times more antioxidants than green tea or red wine to reduce inflammation. It's got high amounts of anthocyanins and anthoxidants, which support heart health. Another interesting study about menopause is that women going through menopause are more likely to experience more heart issues because of our drop in estrogen. So pomegranate's going to help with that. Can lower blood pressure, possibly by reducing stress for free radicals. It helps decrease inflammation, which is another issue with gut health and also with perimenopause and menopause symptoms. And it improves the function of your hypothalamus. That's a part of the brain that helps manage your body temperature, hunger, thirst, mood, sex drive, blood pressure, and sleep. Now, what's really interesting is that as women are going through perimenopause and menopause, and that drop in estrogen is happening, and also the drop in testosterone and progesterone, many women experience disturbed sleep, or the hot flushes wake them up. They will have a great deal of difficulty sometimes managing hunger because of stress, but also the fluctuations in estrogen, and also blood pressure. High blood pressure is now being linked to lack of estrogen. I mean, thank God we've got some really outspoken biomedical doctors at the moment talking about this, because when I was going through perimenopause and menopause, no one said anything. We didn't talk about this stuff. But now we've got some great biomed doctors who I recommend that you follow. Dr. Mary Claire Haver is one, who are talking about the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause that come about through our fluctuations of hormones. And the reason they're talking about it is because they're going through it. I remember I was telling Karen yesterday, I had a really, really challenging perimenopause, really challenging. And this I'm going back 14 years now when I was going through it. And I had all sorts of issues. I've been in for 2 iron infusions. I was trying to work in a very stressful job. I was flooding all the time. I couldn't sleep. I wanted to kill my husband at least 10 times a day. I was just a mess. And one day I took a day off work because I was so exhausted. Like, I had a very stressful job at that time. And I took a day off work, and the Oprah Winfrey show was on. Remember when Oprah Winfrey used to be on at 2 o'clock every afternoon? So I'm lying on listening to my favorite person at the time. And the subject was perimenopause. I'd never heard it. And every single symptom they talked about was exactly what I'd been through. So I phoned my gynecologist, made an appointment to go and see him. He was a great guy. I really liked him a lot. And I said, could I be in perimenopause? And he had a pair of glasses on at the time. And he pulled them down and looked at me and he said, we don't really think that's a thing, do we? That was 14 years ago. So many doctors have not had any training in perimenopause or menopause. That's why I take my hat off to these doctors who are stepping up now. Because for women, and I know for many women on this call who are on the other side of it, we didn't know this stuff. We just thought we're going nuts. I just thought that was the way it was always going to be. And I know my mother used to tell me that, many women her age, they just put them on antidepressants. Valium was a thing when they were going through this stage of their lives because they were anxious and overwhelmed, and the doctors just put them on antidepressants. Now we know that our changing and fluctuating hormone levels are impacting more so now than ever before. And the research is coming out that the reason is because of our poor metabolic health. Number one. That's why so many women are often sometimes experiencing early menopause. We've got issues with inflammatory diseases, PCOS, also, as I mentioned before, infertility. And it all comes down to metabolic health. So this new biome, I think, is probably more important to our health than maybe we even realize. When I saw this with the pomegranate yesterday, I thought, oh my gosh, we're sitting on a little amazing thing here. And I'm not making any claims about this because everybody's different. Everybody's hormonal changes are different. There's no one woman going through exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. It's very much whatever you're feeling. So there's no magic cure here. You still have to watch your inflammatory foods. You still have to eat 100 grams of protein. You need to be eating 40 grams of fiber a day. You need to be drinking, at least 1.5 liters to 2 liters of water a day. You need to be focusing on good sleep hygiene and reducing your stress. But we have, with new Biome now, this little sachet that tastes delicious at our fingertips. Why would you not be using it? So it's also rich in phytoestrogens, similar to female hormones, again, which helps balance the female hormones. And it may help relieve menstrual pain and menstrual irregularities. for girls already who have not reached that stage yet. That's the beautiful thing about this and I think we're going to bring on somebody to talk about, Christy, to talk about that in a moment, Karen, aren't we, about how this has impacted on her?
Absolutely. Christy is very excited about the changes that she's happening for her. So whenever you're ready, I can bring her on.
Yeah, if you want to bring her on. There's just one last slide I want to share. And again, we're making no claims here. There are no claims at all with this, but I just want to share this very last slide that I just actually came across today. In a clinical trial, people with overweight or obesity took a pomegranate extract supplements for 30 days. It lowered their body weight, serum glucose, insulin, triglycerides, total cholesterol, the LDL and HDL ratio, and blood markers that show inflammation. Again, we're not promoting this as a weight loss product at all, but there are some studies to show that pomegranate can actually help. And I think this is really important. I think this is really important for everybody. So that was the last of my slides that I wanted to share, Karen, and maybe if we can get Christy up and then we can answer any questions for anybody. Hey, Christy, there she is.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
good.
good.
To see you.
Now, Karen just quickly told me yesterday that you've been experiencing some changes in your cycle. So do you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, I was actually really excited. It's not something that I was starting to take the drink for, this little pink drink, but I won't stop it now. And so I was diagnosed with endometriosis. I had laparoscopy surgery about 4 years ago now. And one thing that they said, though, was, it doesn't clear up your endometriosis. It may come back. But what I did realize was the pain that I had around my cycle when my period was coming, I would get very painful about 2 days before it was coming. So I knew it was coming. And then my cycle would, go through its motions. Since babies, again, 4 years ago, my cycle changed. It got so heavy. I got even more painful. And now since having the drink, I actually don't even know when it's going to come now because I have no pain. So I started taking it and I started to hear that people were not getting any more period pain. And month 2, I had no more pain left. Like mine happened really, really quickly. I got really quick results. The other things that happened with it. So I have no pain now. It's less heavier and it's a shorter amount of window that it comes at. And so, yeah, I'm blown away. I'm so happy because I just used to, cramp up. Yeah. And so now, I just don't know that's coming. But like, not only that, like there's so many other benefits, the energy, because I had 2 kids, my mood, my mental clarity, all those things. Are fantastic.
It's that quality of life, though, isn't it? You get back, we shouldn't have to, as women, experience 1 week out of every month when we can't function. Like, we shouldn't have to do that, right? But that's what many women do. I know I did. There was one, when I was going through it, there was 1 week of every month I couldn't go anywhere because I never knew what was going to happen next. And you realize now that we do not have to put up with that.
Yeah, no, it's excellent.
Must make a difference for you, your energy levels with the 2 little kids, Christy.
I'm a new woman. I'm completely a different woman on it. I really am. I love who I am.
That's awesome. That is so good. Thank you for that.
That's good as a mum, Christy, and that's fantastic. But you've got an identical twin sister. So has the same happened to Ash?
Yeah, so my twin, because when I told her, she's like, it hasn't happened for me yet. She started to definitely feel the difference at month 3, and she can confirm by month 4 she had no period pain. So she is now as well. It took her a little bit longer, but yeah, so good.
I think that's the thing, isn't it, though, Kirsty, is that we're all different. And even you too, twins, a great study they do on that, actually. You're amazing. But that's what I think we've got to be careful. And so, like this, we've seen this happening. These are some of the things people are talking about. But I just feel like, girl, it's interesting that somebody just asked, Sue just asked, no, was it somebody asked about men? Oh, Moira. Yeah. I think again, it's gut health. You know, men need good gut health, you know, as well as women. Kirsty, you deal with a lot of younger women. Are you seeing the responses from, I know you get a lot of testimonials and feedback. Are you seeing this a lot with other women?
I am starting to see it. I think obviously the more that I'm loud about it, because I'm starting to become loud about it, people are giving us feedback for sure. We're seeing so many people, but at different times. Some people are getting it within 5 days and noticing it like on a really, really short, but then some people do need to take it for a few months to, you know, get a result.
Yeah,
and sometimes you don't even realize, like, until someone points it out to you, that hang on, that's happened to me and I didn't realize. So it's really important that we do talk out loud and share, because it makes you think, oh, hang on, that's me too.
That's it.
I think that, and you know, it's interesting, isn't it, because it wasn't what was promoted with New Biome. We just took that just to good gut health, but it's so interesting to see how our gut health, our metabolic health is so critical to everything that we do. And I said to Karen yesterday, I mean, the scientists at Pharmanex are very smart people. You know, like just this combination of what they put together, that's really clever. Like, that's really clever. And those studies about pomegranate, for instance, I couldn't find anything before 2022 on this. So those studies are just recent. Yeah. So I think this is something for people that, you know, to create conversations with others about this. And I think the conversation around hormonal health, I know because I'm now dealing mostly with menopause and perimenopause, I'm having this conversation with my 30-year-old daughters now. You do not have to put up with this. You do not have to put up with this. By all means, go get hormones checked. I think that's really important. But, you know, I think, and I grew up, and there's a few others, probably Justine and Katrina, a few others with their hands up. We grew up in an era when no one talked about this. We didn't talk about, you know, periods and menopause, and we just didn't. But now you can, and I think it's just an incredible product we've got. It's fantastic.
Women's business. My mother used to say, it's women's business.
I know.
Now we get out there and talk about it, and I know my mum goes, you shouldn't be talking about that out loud. And I'm going, why not?
Yeah.
It's really important. But Christy and I were also talking yesterday, and Christy was saying about, you know, for her age and that 7 days, but she says that she's getting a lot of response from people that are my age. And I said, well, you don't really realize until you're going through menopause, it's not just 7 days a month, it's every flaming day. And that is, it's debilitating. It's a nightmare. And that is the thing and I think that's why it's so important that us that are perimenopause and menopausal, that we share this with as many women as we can, because it can be life-changing. I've been taking New Biome for 2 years. I got it when I was in America, and I bought like a year's supply because it wasn't coming out to Australia for a while. And I didn't really notice lots of changes. I noticed the bloating thing was better. I noticed the energy was better because it's got a little kick of caffeine in here, and I'm caffeine intolerant. So I'm someone that doesn't sleep for 24 hours if I have even just a sprinkle of caffeine. However, this doesn't do it to me. I don't take it late in the day, but I still do take it. And but I didn't think anything about my hot flushes. And then I stopped it for a month just to see. And one night I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, what the, you know, what's happening? And the hot flushes had come back, and they were coming back every day, and I was getting a couple a day. And I was thinking, okay, the only thing I stopped was New Biome. And so quickly put it back into my regime. And but now I also take it with my collagen, because we call it our what do we call it? Our feel slim and glow. And so, you know, because even if you're not losing weight, because you haven't got that bloated feeling, you do feel slimmer. And so, and of course, without the bloat, you know, you don't have that belly thing happening. But also the looking after our outside in and inside out, and because Collagen Plus is such a great product that works really well with it. Christy, I think you have it together too, don't you?
I do. It tastes so tropical. It's actually delicious.
I know.
It
I
needs
miss,
a little
I
umbrella
miss
in it.
tropical here. I miss tropical. I just wanted to ask this question, Karen. I know for you, I mean, unfortunately, my mother, is no longer with us. She passed away when she was 56. I now look back and think, I just know what she was like at 50, and I'm sure she was going through really challenging perimenopause. I think the thing is with our parents, I mean, could you have that conversation with your mother, or is it she just like, when did she go through perimenopause? It's difficult, isn't it?
My mother still hasn't talked to me about getting my period for the first time. So she's 90 and I'm 59. So I'm still waiting for that conversation.
Yeah.
But I do remember, because my mum is a mother of 8, and my dad, bless his cotton picking socks, he was a wonderful man, but he was hopeless when it came to poor mum, because mum did everything.
Yeah.
And I just remember at one time mum fainting at home, and mum, she was the rock. She did everything. And I remember her fainting, and it was such a shock. And when I was asking her if she was okay, because I think there was only dad and myself home at the time. And she just said, "Oh, it's just women's business." That's all she talked about, women's business. And I wasn't a woman at that stage, because you're not a woman until you have a baby, according to my mother.
That's right.
But yes, but I still haven't had those conversations. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because 51% of the world's population is going to experience this. That's 51%. And so 51% of people haven't talked about this. Interesting enough, with doctors, bless their hearts, and I don't want to criticize them, but they have so little training in women's hormones and perimenopause and menopause. And recently, I was on listening to a webinar with actually in Australia right now. There's a menopause. Something's going on with the Senate. They're having an inquiry or Senate hearings about women and menopause, because it impacts on the workplace. And so many women step away from their jobs, or leave, or companies don't know how to deal with menopausal women. And one of the doctors was saying Dr. Claire Haver has what she calls a menopause posse. So they're women doctors mostly around the world who are really upskilling themselves in perimenopause and menopause and women's health. And this doctor from Australia messaged her in the middle of the night, which would have been here, and said, "Help." She said, "I just did a presentation to the Australian Senate. The male doctor that got up straight after me said, we need to stop doctors talking about women's health issues on social media, because it's causing women to feel that they have symptoms they don't have, and then ask for things to fix it that they don't need." So even now with all of this, there are still doctors who do not understand. And that's why, for anybody on the call, if you're going through something, you need to get your hormones checked. You have to go get it done. I'm asking my daughters to get it done now. One of the things they talk about is, if you get the hormone panels done early in your 30s, and you can get it done every few years, you will know where you're at. And I think that's really important.
There's also a problem with that, though, Sal, because my youngest daughter, for those of you who don't know, but my daughter Madison, 10 years ago, got a growth in her brain. Her whole endocrine system stopped working properly. We sent her blood work over and her urine over to the US, because no one in Australia knew how to thought there was anything a problem. And she had 5 times more plastic in her body than what was considered safe. Now, phthalates are huge endocrine disrupting toxins. They are in so many things. Most of us have got enough plastic in our body right now to make a credit card, at least a credit card.
Yeah.
And in the tests today, when they're testing umbilical cords, babies are born with phthalates in their bodies, because they're getting it from the mother. And so when you get your hormones tested, if you have a problem and it says that your estrogen is fine, it doesn't necessarily mean your estrogen is fine, because plastics mimic estrogen. And so you've got to keep going to the next step. And unfortunately, in Australia, most endocrinologists don't even know about this. The endocrinologist that we went to with Madison, I actually went to 5, at $500 a pop each one. And we had massive arguments with them because they kept on telling me that she was normal at 18.
Yeah.
And I said, and because when you have a blood test, they compare you to 100 women the same age as you that have blood tests. Now, why do you have a blood test? Because there's something wrong with you. And so that is also something you've got to be really, really careful, because if you're coming up low, you really are low. Even if you're in the middle, even if you're in the normal range, you are low. So look at your blood test. If you're coming up high, above average, you are high. So you need to have somebody that can actually read your blood tests to be able to diagnose. Because my endocrinologist, the last one that we ended up working with, she rang me like 7 years later and said, I've just come back from China. I finally understand what Madison was going through.
Wow.
In China, they're talking about plastics in the body. In Australia, they hadn't even talked about it. And I was saying I was educating her. And so she was an endocrinologist. So just be aware. So to find people that are good and keep asking questions if you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Karen. Thank you, Christy. That was fantastic. I'm going to get to some of these questions now. Where are we? Jade, 5 years. Feel great now. Jade, so you're taking, right, where's Jade?
Will I put the view on so that we can see each other?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
At the gallery. So if you just switch yours to gallery mode, that should work.
Okay.
Jade, do you want to just unmute yourself? Can you do that?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. So you said that your cycle will be horrible and heavy now. Is it, you feel great now? Is that since taking new biome?
Yeah, since taking new biome. I don't really know when my cycle's coming anymore. It just shows up. I have less pain now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I just overall feel good. I don't feel in pain like I used to. I used to curl up in a ball and cry my whole period.
Wow.
It was horrible.
That's incredible. Well, that's fantastic news. Congratulations. That's awesome. Next one, Tracy. Recommendations you recommend once a day or twice a day to new biome. I just read about that this morning. The company recommends once a day. However, they don't see any problem with twice a day. So really, that's really up to you. If you read the product information pages, it will give you some of that information about it. So sometimes, I'm thinking, you have one of those weekends where you're like, you're going to be out a couple of times and you're going to be eating, cheese and crackers and wine. Maybe twice a day wouldn't hurt. But anyway.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, because I didn't want to. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just trying to find you. That was
sorry.
Gotcha.
So because I could relate with Jade as well, because I'm 41 now.
Yes.
And from the age of 16, when I got my first period, I can still remember how much of painful cramps I would have. Yeah. And even up now, sometimes I don't know when I would get my next cycle. And, I guess when we come to the age of 40, from 30 onwards, we know how our body changes. And, so I could really relate with Jade as well. Because sometimes fantastic. I do. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I love my understanding, Sally, there's nothing in there that is detrimental to your health. There's only positive things in there. So it's like, you're having an extra piece of fruit a day sort of thing. So it's food-based.
Food-based. And again, everybody's different. And so I know for the first couple of weeks that I was taking it, number one, I struggled with the time because I'm very caffeine sensitive. I took it one morning before I went to the gym and I was just like a jittery mess. I'm not doing that again. And then one day I took it quite late in the afternoon. I couldn't sleep. But now I've found for me what works is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That works because it just, normally I'd have a cup of tea then, or I'd feel like a muffin or a piece of, chocolate or something. And so I have that instead, now mixed with collagen. That's great. Yes. I love Sue's comment. Bad periods of menopause affect men too. They live with us. It was just a wonder. My husband and I were still married. I tell you honestly, there was one night in the laundry and I was screaming at everybody to just do things, and he came in and he said, "What's wrong?" I said, I don't know. Everybody help. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
I know when I was going through menopause, my naturopath and / doctor said to me, "Are you moody?" And I said, "I live with myself. Who can I be cranky with? I just have to be cranky at myself, and that's not working. So no, I'm not moody."
So funny. Isn't it interesting? Because I just don't get moods like that anymore. Like I just don't. It's really, once a month it was pretty terrible in our house for a very long time.
I think men go through menopause. I think that's
every day apparently.
Yes.
Susan was talking about, you were talking about a book from Dr. Kelly, that Dr. Mary Claire Haver, Haver, and her book is called, I think it's called The New Menopause, #1 bestseller on, went straight to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Follow her on Instagram. She does a lot of daily lives. She's amazing. She's just incredible. Let's go through.
The hypothalamus thing was, I didn't know I had one of those. Mine's overactive.
Yeah, I know, right? Do you know what's interesting is I'm just sitting here thinking I don't have food cravings anymore. I just realized that I don't have a need for sweet things or anything else. That just dropped in there. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Janelle, I can't wait till the non-caffeine comes to Australia. Yeah. I'm a bit like you, Janelle. We don't have it in Canada yet either, so I'm waiting for that. So I just saw. Yeah, I just saw a question about blood pressure medication. Again, they just have to. We can't see anything other than you have to talk to your doctor about it.
Well, go to your chemist. Your chemist is actually better than your doctor.
Yeah.
So just the pharmacist, take your pack in, show it to them, and ask them. They're your best bet. They know more all contraindications.
Yeah, one of my biggest symptoms of menopause was actually high blood pressure. Now we know high blood pressure is linked to drops in estrogen levels. Go figure. And so that's really settled down now too. I mean, I do everything right. When I had high blood pressure, I'm like, what? That's just crazy. It wasn't until now I do getting more involved in menopause and the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. Understand there's so much. Dr. Claver talks about frozen shoulder as being a symptom of menopause as well.
Well, it must be, because it seems to happen to women all at the same time.
Yeah.
That right shoulder, particularly if you've got a man in your life that drives you nuts.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Right shoulder always goes. That's a frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
And we need to after that as well.
Exactly. Caffeine affected me. Kim was said, if I take any later than 12:30, I can't sleep. Yeah. So I can't help but still have the food sugar cravings at 4 p.m. Kim, I would be increasing your protein.
Yep.
So you still need, remember, this is not a magical cure. You still need to be getting 100 grams of protein a day, which is, no, it's really hard. No. Aiming for 100 grams of protein a day. Eggs are your best friend. Cottage cheese is your best friend. Greek yogurt is your best friend. And I find now, for me, we just go get a chicken
protein.
Yeah. So that will help with the food cravings.
And also the TRME, My Edge, I love that for my food cravings.
Yeah.
But the protein is the biggest thing. About that green protein, I don't have the bottle here with me, but that stuff's
I love it. I love it. And I've got to tell you a little secret. Don't tell anybody else how this called.
Okay.
We tried a protein from another company. I won't say which one, because my son-in-law was getting it. Honestly, I could taste the chemicals in it. And they promote it as 40 grams of protein. And, both Jerry and I went, I can taste the chemicals in this. It's amazing. The difference. Ours is really, really good. Katrina, I have blood pressure, which has calmed down, and I drink new Biome. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Mine is too, Katrina. That's really interesting. My data is currently experimental, Kim. So you're newly diagnosed celiac. That's going to be experimentation. What works for you or anybody else? That again, this is not a one-size-fits-all model. This really looks at. I mean, we're all so different. Getting back to autism. I remember when Dave was diagnosed, wonderful mentor I was working with said at the time, if you know one child with autism, you know one child with autism. It's not the same for everybody. So same with anything like celiac disease, really that experimenting to find, but I think new Biome is going to help with that. Sue, frozen shoulder. That was one of Dr. Mary Claire Haver's comments on one of her things, that frozen shoulders actually can be one of the symptoms of lack of estrogen. It's really, really interesting. I don't know how many people in the fitness industry, when I was working with women in their 50s, would have to stop doing a certain exercise, have frozen shoulder, and they go, what the hell's happened? Interesting. I recommend you follow her on Instagram. She's very, very good. And there's another gal, and I can't even think of her name. I might pop it in the group later on. Some of the menopause biomed docs I'm following at the moment are just incredible. And they're very passionate about it. They're talking about it because they're going through it.
Absolutely. And again, what I said to Christy yesterday, when you're going through having your period 7 days a month, it can be debilitating, but menopause is every friggin' day, and it is terrible. I was getting 30 flushes a day.
Yeah.
Can't think straight.
No, you think that there are 3 times in a woman's life. Yeah, 3 times in a woman's life when they go through massive change. One is puberty, that lasts a couple of years. 2 is childbirth, that's 9 months, a little 3 months after that. But the third, this hormonal shift, can last up to 14 to 15 years. From the time you start perimenopause, often it's 45, seems to be, some at 42, some at 48, before you go through that menopause state, which can be in your late 50s and into your early 60s. So it's a really long time that we are not 100% ourselves. And so that's why we need to talk about it. We need and stop thinking this is just something we have to put up with. We don't. There's now so much information coming out big time. And if you've got a doctor that won't listen, and that gynecologist I went to, he was wonderful, stopped me having hysterectomy and did all these things that, I'm forever grateful. But he knew nothing about perimenopause. And a lot of doctors don't. They don't even recognize it. And the thing about perimenopause is it's not the same for every woman, and it's not the same age for every woman. So if you are going through something, you're not yourself. You're experiencing brain fog and you can't read. If you are cranky and you're just about ready to stab your husband in the eye because he's breathing too loudly, or if you are just, a cranky mum and or your anxieties, it's not you, it's your hormones. And I think if we understand that now, I know when I was in my career, I had a 10-year career in education and marketing, which I loved, but it was so stressful. I ended up leaving it for reasons other than that. But I remember the last month I was there thinking I was going crazy. I couldn't remember things. I'll be writing board reports and I couldn't remember what the word was I wrote 2 seconds ago. And I just thought, I got to leave this job. I can't deal with it. Now I realize I was smack dab into the middle of perimenopause. I couldn't go anywhere because I was flooding all the time. I remember saying to the school nurse, how much blood do you lose before you got to go and have a transfusion?
Die.
Oh, gee. I mean, it was you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, the wonderful thing about menopause, white pants, my new best friend. But for years, I couldn't go anywhere without having, super tampons and big pads, and you'd never wear white, you just wouldn't. And now I know that we could have fixed that.
Yeah.
I said, because mum died of breast cancer, no way they would have put me on hormone replacement therapy. That was a really, really bad study that's caused many women to not seek hormonal therapy treatment, because that's now all been debunked. So you need to, I know there's a good doctor on the Gold Coast because a girlfriend of mine has just found her. So when I found out who she is, anybody that's on the Gold Coast, I know there's menopause posse, there's some in Australia, but you really, as Karen was saying, 7 years to figure out what was going on with Madison. And you were beating down the doors. I think it's just, when we talk and we normalize this, it's better for every woman. or every man too, thinks he's going to divorce his wife. Yeah, let's just get back to, we're going to finish up now in about 10 minutes. So if anybody's got any more questions. Oh, I don't know who this iPhone is. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis a year ago. My GP and specialist wanted me to have steroids and anti-inflammatory. I held off. Started on the new Biome. No, I don't have any pain in my fingers and toes. Wow. That's amazing. Kim, it's helped my celiacs. I only get mild symptoms when I have gluten accidentally. Wow. And Jade, my son has been having a small amount of new Biome. Oh, Jade, now, is Jade, you're the one whose son's been diagnosed with ASD? Because
level 2.
Yeah, because most autistic children have gut issues.
Yeah.
Most. So that's interesting. Can you just keep me updated on that? I'd like to know, how that goes with him in terms of his ability to focus and function and sit still and, all that stuff they make him do.
So his function level at the moment is minimal. He barely sits for 5 minutes, runs around continually all day, struggles to sleep at night, tosses and turns. And so I have noticed bowel movement has been quite regular since he's been having a little bit of new Biome, and that's been massive for us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's one of the biggest issues with most kids on the spectrum is gut issues. Yeah, because the food they eat and it's just a sensitivity and they can't poop and all that stuff, and it makes them real cranky.
And that's also a really good point, because you mentioned that the new Biome's got anthocyanins in them, and because anthocyanins are really important for our gut, for the little good bacteria in our tummy. It's a really important food for them. So really important antioxidant, and it also helps our gut lining. So that antioxidant is specific for the lining that goes from our mouth to our bottom, which is literally a cell width. If we laid it flat on a piece of ground, it would be the size of a tennis court. And so what happens over time, particularly with bad food choices, and everybody in the Western community has gut challenges. I think the numbers are 7 out of 8 people in this community have something to do with gut
metabolically unwell.
Leaky gut. Yeah, leaky gut, diverticulitis, irritable bowel, all that sort of stuff. A lot of us don't even know we've got it, and we've got it. And so this product, along with another product called ageLOC Meta, is all about healing that gut lining. So it's good. ageLOC Meta is the anthocyanins on steroids.
Yeah, that's great. Ash just asked what your thoughts around kids having a SIP. As a parent, I would make that decision yourself. I just, see how they go. A SIP wouldn't hurt them, but the company doesn't recommend it for children. But then that's also caution. So
they don't do any studies on people under age of 18 for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As a parent, the only thing I'd be concerned about is the caffeine in here. So how sensitive your child is to caffeine. That would be my only concern. Get the caffeine-free one if you want from America. That's what I did.
Yeah, that's great, Karen. Thank you. I think, is it in Australia yet, the caffeine-free?
No, I'm trying to make that movement happen. So if you're interested in having the no caffeine, please contact the company so that they know that I'm not the only person that wants the caffeine-free one. Not that the caffeine one is a problem for me, but I just prefer to not have the caffeine in my day.
Katrina said, I used to get massive migraines, would put me in the hospital. Now they've stopped too.
Oh my
God. Wow. Interesting. See, isn't it incredible? Like, this is amazing. The gut, we are so many of us, metabolically unwell. And everything begins in the gut. Lots and lots of studies now about gut health and Alzheimer's. Oh my Lord. Like, that is just that's the newest thing coming up, is this gut health and metabolically challenged people and the gut-brain connection and all that stuff. So who knows where this is going to go. Andy, the customer gives it to a 10-year-old son, gives half a sachet a day, and notice the difference. That's great. That's so good. And again, The company's not saying anything. We're not diagnosing. It really is trial and error for many people. But as Karen said, there's nothing that's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say trial and error.
Yeah. And and what works for you. The other thing is that sometimes caffeine is put into products to not for the energy, but for the absorption. It actually helps the body absorb.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Karen mentioned before, I'm super, super caffeine. Like I can't even, a sip of a normal cup of coffee and I don't sleep for a week. So as I said, I was really hesitant, and having before I went to the gym, that was not good. That was not good. But having it after lunch, when I would normally have maybe a cup of tea and something else, that's where I've noticed the difference. Any studies on Parkinson's? Not that I know of, Moira. However, there are studies on gut health and Parkinson's I've come across. So maybe you can kind of Google.
My mum has Parkinson's, and she's actually about to try new Biome next month to see if that helps with her severe shakes. She has muscle tightening all the time, and she finds it very painful to walk. So I'm hoping next month I can share a little bit about my mum taking new Biome with Parkinson's, and hopefully this can help others with the same issue.
Yeah.
Great. Keep us updated. That would be really interesting.
That would be really interesting, Jade. That'd be. I don't know at the moment, but
it's all it's a new diagnosis for my mum, so it's all the last couple of months we've been learning a little bit about Parkinson's and how it can affect her daily life, and I have seen dramatic change to her health. It has deteriorated a lot, so I'm hoping when I gift my mum new Biome, that it's going to do something for her, because the medication she's on at the moment, it helps a little bit, but not to the extent that she would like.
Yeah. Well, keep us updated, Jade, because that's really
5 years ago she used to be able to ride a bike and stuff like that, and now she can't ride a bike. She struggles to walk up the stairs. So it's going to be good for some feedback.
That'd be great. Thank you so much for sharing that too.
No, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Sue, what about M? I don't know what that means. Where is she? Sue, where are you? Sue Wiley. There she is.
Yeah, sorry, just MS. I thought it'd be quicker to say it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know.
Study.
But again, I'd look at metabolic health and MS, metabolic gut health and MS. There's lots of studies coming out. I just keep Googling and having a look at that. But I don't know at this point how it would. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That would be a great question, Sue, to have a chat with Alison McMillan.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we've got to wrap it up.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on. This has been a fantastic call.
So good. Us girls need to talk more often.
Yeah. It's been great to see everybody. The only thing I miss about Australia is the people. I don't miss anything else. I miss the people though. So been great.
Well, we missed you.
And can I just tell you, the CBC does a terrible job of commenting on the Olympics. I'll tell you. When the Australian girls win the swimming, they go,
they don't talk about it.
And we're jumping up and down the limit. Oh, boring. I miss what's his name? Who's Bruce McAvaney. I miss Bruce McAvaney. That was
gets very excited.
Thank you, everybody. It was great to see everybody. We will put the recording up in the group too for you.
Thank you, Christy, for coming on and sharing. So Christy's surrounded by all us old girls.
Thank you, Christy.
For bringing the average age down. Thank you so much for doing that.
Look what you've got to look forward to, Christy.
I'm going to go through it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Big love
everybody.
to you all. Thanks
Thank
again,
you
Sally,
so
for your
much.
time and your expertise. Please reach out to the person that invited you, and yeah, we'll come back with something else that we can talk about at another day. But keep us updated if you're feeling changes that are positive, or please let us know, because your story could help so many other people. So that's really vital.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.